the soil, which is actually nutritionally depleted now. So our fruit of 2024 has less micronutrients in it than our fruit of 100 years ago. It's got more chemicals in it. Our fertilizing ability means that we bind the magnesium in it. You put potassium into the fertilizer, it binds the magnesium in the soil. So virtually all of our food, not just fruit, is actually magnesium depleted now. So even your animal-based product has a reduced magnesium in comparison with 50 to 100 years ago. Honey, again, I talk about honey in nature, difficult to find, and if you do want to do it, get hold of it, you've got to raid a beehive. The honey is being stored by the bees for their winter hibernation. So if you want to rape and pillage someone's house of all their worldly goods, understand you're doing that to a beehive. Honey is high. It's about 55% fructose, 45% glucose, whereas sugar is 50% fructose, 50% glucose on the whole. And because it's a bit sweeter, it drives behavior. Ancient Egyptians, you can still get, they've opened up some of those tombs to actually find honey that's still there. Again, because it's preserved for hundreds and hundreds of years because of its sugar content. Again, honey in small amounts, fine, but understand that honey in your glass jar in your pantry is not natural. A method of production which has been around for hundreds of years, not thousands of years, but only a few hundred years. The other side is that we need bees to be pollinating our trees and our fruits and our grains and our lands and our grasses, so our animals can eat it. And we've interfered in their ecology so much. This is the environmental aspect of our food production. We've actually got, in the US, they have bee colonies which they transport from the east to the west coast and vice versa, with a massive loss of beehives just to pollinate the fruit trees and the crops. Our pesticides are clearly playing a role in bee populations. And our future is looking pretty bleak if our bee populations reduce. I used to be addicted to all this stuff. I'd have my fruit for breakfast, fruit for snacks. I'd have honey cornflakes, honey toasted cornflakes. And I used to have honey, just a spoonful of it. I was completely addicted. I'm sorry, I was wrong. I was wrong to myself. It's not needed. It was driving behavior. It was making me hungry. And it was contributing to my weight and health issues. There's over 100 different names, and you've just, mentioned agave syrup, and if it's got agave syrup or it's got honey or it's different. And they're just the names of the natural sugar. It's literally just marketing to confuse us. When you look at it, I can look at it and go, oh, that's a sugar, that's a sugar, that's a sugar, that's a sugar. And they may list 5 different sugars on there by different names, but they don't have to sort of group them together as sugar. You can get a guess, though, however, if you read the percentages. In Australia, we're actually better at having our labellings better than in the US, because it will tell you the percentage of carbohydrate and it'll tell you the percentage of sugars. When in the US, it doesn't have to do that. It'll mention what the ingredients are, but not the percentages. So we're a little bit better off, but most people don't read labels. There are 2 ways to look at that. One is, I'll argue, if it's got a label on it telling you what's in it, don't eat it. Number 1. Number 2, if it's got 5 things on it, definitely don't eat it. And this comes from Karen Zinn, who's a dietitian in New Zealand. Now, we have an empty pantry, full fridge, but that means shopping regularly. It means actually having to prepare food. And the expensive way, people say, oh, it's expensive to be low-carb, keto, carnivore, and eating all that fresh food. I say, no, because we've done the costing of that. So processed food, and we've actually done all this in food plans and whatever. If you're eating fresh, local, seasonal, whole food in season, it's cheaper, it's readily available. But what it is expensive in is that it's expensive in your time to prepare that.